is that? Is that Spencer Haas?
It is indeed Spencer Haas.
We just finished a year on the program, and we both made videos about that first year.
I've now been an Amazon influencer for 532 days.
I've just completed my first full year on the Amazon Influencer Program, and I've made over $40,000. So we thought it'd be really good to have a podcast episode where we kind of dual share our process and experiences.
Amazon gets billions of visitors every month, and you can have a sliver of that traffic. If you're thinking, oh, this needs to be a corporate style video with great transitions and music, that will get you rejected from Amazon.
What's a year plus on the program? Give us some numbers you're comfortable sharing.
By the time I was 6 months in that summer, every month after that was over $1,000 a month. And then, of course, holiday season, end of last year, November was about $3,000 and December was over $6,000. And all of this without me adding any videos in the last 7 months. So I'd be curious to hear your update.
So I was earning between $2,000 and $3,000 a month. And then in November, I broke $4,000. This has been something so positive to talk about and so encouraging to do.
And because, why not? We're on the podcast. I'll actually share something that I don't think I've shared before, but I actually...
All right, welcome back to the Niche Pursuits podcast. My name is Jared Bauman. Today we're joined by, who is that? Is that Spencer Haas?
It is indeed Spencer Haas. Believe it or not, I'm actually the founder of the podcast here, but you're a wonderful host, so I'm glad to turn it over to you.
Hey, you told me to host today, so I'm hosting. We are here. We are doing a joint episode. Normally we do these on Fridays where we recap the news that's going on in the industry. We talk about our side hustles. We talk about a weird niche. I will say that it was so habitual, I almost brought a weird niche for today and realized we're not doing that. But we are talking about a side hustle. You and I are going to spend the next hour or so talking about our Amazon Influencer Program and it's our journey on it because we just have gone through 1 year on it. Really quickly, and then I want to get your introduction on it because you're actually the one that got me interested in it. But we just finished a year on the program and we both made videos about that first year. We were talking about that and about off air, just about how interesting of a program it was, how surprisingly successful it was for both of us, and a lot of the stuff that we went about differently. And so we thought it'd be really good to have a podcast episode where we kind of dual share our process and experiences.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. And for a lot of people listening, right, it's been over a year, right, since we got started. We've got, actually for me, a little bit longer. Mm-hmm. For you, it's just over a year. Mm-hmm. And to be able to look back and reflect of like, okay, this was a new idea a year and a half ago for me. And now to see how much money I've made and how it's going, like, is this really passive? And so I answered a lot of those questions in a short YouTube video that I made, as you mentioned. I know you made one as well. And so I'm happy to talk about a lot of the findings that I've made here, over the last year and a half with the influencer program. And we can dive a lot deeper into this subject. I know you as well, like you said, you did a YouTube video, but you actually behind the scenes have been recording a video course, from what I understand. So actually, if you would, just give us 30 seconds of what that was, and then maybe we'll talk about that later. But for the most part, we'll talk about what you and I have done over the last year and a half.
Yeah, I partnered up with Authority Hacker to make a course on it to help people from A to Z get started, get accepted, make videos. I think the key thing that the course addresses that we're going to get into today is this program is so good because of the ROI, and you have to nail the ROI. You have to get your return, but you have to do it with as little time invested as possible. It's about balancing that. And so that's really, I'd say what the course really focuses on teaching is how to maximize your ROI on the program. And we'll get into a lot of that today, but there's a course for it now. It's live this week, and so we can talk more about it later.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. If people want to check it out, we're going to have a link in the description. People can go to that, or they can go to nichepursuits.com/product review profits. So that's Jared's course that he teamed up with Authority Hacker. But yeah, let's jump into you and I's stories. Hey there, thanks so much for listening to the Niche Pursuits podcast. Did you know that Jared and I are members of a private group called the Niche Pursuits Community? And today I want to share with you how you can join for just $1. The Niche Pursuits Community is a private members area for niche online publishers to mastermind and grow their businesses together. We hold weekly calls live with experts where you can ask questions. These experts share tips on Amazon Influencer, Google Discover, building email newsletters, getting traffic from Facebook, and other strategies to grow your online business. You'll also be assigned a mastermind group of 4 or 5 other people in a similar stage in business as you. Dive deep into your business issues and get your problems solved. If you use coupon code PODCAST at checkout, you'll get your first month for just $1. Go ahead and give it a try. Come join me, Jared, and lots of other digital entrepreneurs inside my private group at community.nichepursuits.com. And be sure to use coupon code PODCAST. I'll see you on the inside.
All right. So kicking it off, you were on the program, like you mentioned, many months before I joined. We both got accepted. And this is one of the most important things that people need to hear is how to get accepted. Many of you are going to be familiar with the Amazon Associates program. That's just a simple application. And I don't even remember how to apply it now, or I think it's just you get accepted basically. Like, I'm not sure there's an acceptance as much as you just enter your information and you have an associates account. Influencer is different. You have to go through a multi-part acceptance video to get shoppable videos. Let's give a quick highlight or a quick overview of what the Amazon Influencer program is, and then we'll talk about how to get accepted. The Influencer program covers a lot of different things. It's far more wide than I think I knew, and I think you're in the same boat. But what we're talking about today is one specific aspect of it, and it's called shoppable videos. And it's the idea that you can get your videos, quick, short, 1, 2, 3 minute videos where you talk about the product and show the product. You can get those videos on Amazon's actual product page. And if people watch a bit of that video and then go on to buy, you get a commission. And so the big difference here for a lot of you listening is that you don't have to drive traffic. You're capitalizing on Amazon's traffic. And amazing.
Yeah, and I want to drive that point home. Like, I didn't fully realize this. Like, you don't need a website or any other place to send traffic to Amazon. Like, Amazon gets billions of visitors every month, and you can have a sliver of that traffic. Like, you literally get a video on the Amazon product checkout page, right? Like, your video is right there if somebody clicks it and watches it. So that, for me, was the big light bulb. And so, yeah, I just wanted to emphasize that. Like, you're not sending traffic from anywhere.
It's got to be the biggest e-com store in the world, right? By like a country mile, probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so anyways, yeah. That's the big, like, if you're trying to understand, like, what's the big deal? I'm on the associates program, la-di-da-di-da. So I have to make videos now. That's the big deal. It's like, this is very unique in terms of what you get to take advantage of. And because of that, like, the traffic is crazy. So, okay, that's the best part about it. Probably the worst part about it is you have to qualify. You have to qualify and then get your videos approved. So it's a 2-step process. You qualify with what's called a qualifying social media account. It is either YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, or Instagram. Facebook and Instagram have to be business accounts. Super simple if you want to switch your personal one over.
Yep.
Now, they don't tell us what it is, but generally speaking, at time of recording, it's like, we'll call it a minimum of 1,000 followers or subscribers, probably more than that, but definitely no more than like 5 or 10,000 needed. It's somewhere in that range. Yep. And then it also has an engagement component. The engagement component is like likes and shares and comments and these sorts of things. So you can't just, have a Facebook page that's got 10,000 followers, but no one has commented in 5 years. You haven't posted in a while. That won't get accepted. It's some combination. What'd you use to get accepted? I don't even think I've asked you that. Yeah.
So I actually used, for the influencer account that I have right now, I used my YouTube channel.
Okay.
And so it was my YouTube channel, and the approval process that is really pretty interesting is just that it's all automated in terms of that initial approval. And so you just submit your YouTube channel, it syncs up with it, and it tells you instantly. It's like, okay, you're approved. And so it runs whatever checks for how many followers or subscribers you have, or the engagement metrics they're looking for, and it says you're approved, right? But of course, that's not the end of it, as we'll talk about here.
Yeah, I'm sure you've gotten a lot of like emails and comments about this over the last year and a half. Do you have any other insights on what it takes to get accepted? Or I'm thinking about somebody listening who's like, I don't have, a YouTube account with 40,000 subscribers. For someone listening, like, do you have any other insights about what you've heard or what you've seen or what you've talked to people about in terms of what does and what doesn't help get accepted?
Kind of what we hit on a little bit is some sort of minimum number of followers, and don't know what that is. I've heard of people with as little as like 500 followers get accepted. But usually I would think you need at least 1,000, probably a little more would be safe. But then I think the engagement is probably key. If you've got, 1,000 really engaged followers that are commenting, liking, that's going to go a lot further than having like 10,000 followers that aren't very engaged. So that's my only insight. And because, why not? We're on the podcast. I'll actually share something that I don't think I've shared before, but I actually got approved for a second Amazon influencer account or a niche Facebook page that I have. I just thought, why not? I've got a Facebook page now that it had over 10,000 followers. Let's see if I can get approved. Different email address, different Amazon account. And it did. It got instantly approved. Now, that one I haven't gone through the whole process of adding any videos or anything like that. So I've done it twice now with a Facebook page and a YouTube account.
It's interesting. We talk about this, I know in the Niche Pursuits community, it comes up quite a bit, like how to get accepted, what to use. But a lot of what we're talking about in other episodes of the podcast parlays perfectly into this, because a lot of people are, say, turning to Facebook. And we've interviewed a lot of people over the last couple of months who are using Facebook traffic to build a brand. There's people who are using email newsletters and then pointing people to different social media accounts and stuff. So there's like, I got accepted with one of my websites, a YouTube channel I had built for the website. It was a secondary thing. I built it based on the content we were creating for the website because embedding videos into blog posts was a really helpful thing. And so that grew over time, and there it was, and it was something to use. So I don't know. I think that a lot of the other activities that people are doing with kind of brand building as a high level topic serve this thing really well and will help you get accepted into the program with a lot of your other activities.
Right. And, I think when people hear the word influencer, they might be a little bit scared. They're like, well, I'm not an influencer. I don't have a lot of followers. But even if you're starting from zero, like you listen to this podcast today, you have nothing. You can go out and start a Facebook page. And as I've shown, I was able to build 10,000 followers on a Facebook page within 30 days. You can do this using paid ads, organic approaches. You can get likes pretty cheap on Facebook for somewhere between 5 and 10 cents a like. So if you're willing to put down $100 or as much as $1,000, right, to get a following on Facebook, you can probably get approved to the Amazon influencer program.
I mean, one final story on that, I was talking with a neighbor. She's a stay-at-home mom, raising her couple of kids. She's got an Instagram account where, she posts about everything under the sun, what she's doing, all that kind of stuff. Sometimes stuff around the house, all that. She's got 1,800 followers. Plenty of engagement. She switched her account over to Instagram business and bam, got accepted the first day. So, wow. She's like, I didn't even think about that. I thought it kind of had to be like this business approach. You could make it that, but you can sometimes just use something you've already driven traffic to or have built up just kind of throughout the years without a business focus.
Right. Exactly. And so it doesn't have to be super difficult to sort of pass this first step.
Yeah.
Now, the second step of getting your first 3 videos could be a little bit more difficult, right?
We don't need to go into like the semantics of the next, like why and what it is, like, but suffice to say, if you want videos to go onto Amazon pages, which is what we did and where we've earned all of our income from the Amazon Influencer Program, you have a second step. And that second step is getting your first 3 videos approved. It's not a automated process that I know of. It seems to be very manual because it takes a while. It only took about a week for me, but that was over a year ago. And I mean, who knows now what it is. It takes time. Let's put it that way. You submit your first 3 videos and they get reviewed and they either get accepted or they get rejected. you need them to be accepted, your first 3. Now, past those first 3, they don't get manually reviewed.
Right.
Those first 3 have to get accepted. Here's the kicker. Here's why it's important is if you get rejected 3 times, you get kicked out of the program for good. And no, it's not just hearsay or happenstance. Like, we have people in the community that comment and like, I just got kicked out for good. I don't really know what to do now. So it's not to scare people, but you need to make good videos. You need to put time and effort into those first 3 videos to get them accepted.
Right. Yeah. It's obviously very important that you get those first 3 videos. Then after that, you can submit, a dozen videos a week, if you want. And those just automatically get added to your influencer account. So this is really interesting. I got approved on my first 3 videos on my first try.
I was gonna say, I don't think we ever talked about this because it was in the early days of it, and we were just kind of mentioning it here and there. You were just beginning to talk about it. So I don't think I ever heard the story about your first 3 videos.
Yeah, my first 3 videos got approved on the first try. So I knew that it was really important that they get approved. And so I talked to some people to make sure I was doing it right. I kind of listened to what the best practices were. And I guess I nailed it. But I've had other people that they do great videos and they've been rejected. So I thought it might be important to talk a little bit about what makes a great first video, because it's a little bit different. If you're trying to make like a really professional, well-produced video, that is not what Amazon is looking for, right? If you're thinking, oh, this needs to be a corporate style video with great transitions and music and
B-roll and
slow motion and B-roll and, a story,
jump cuts.
No, that is not, that will get you rejected from Amazon. What they want is literally somebody that will pick up their phone, and just record, hey, I'm Spencer. I've got this pen today. I'm going to give you 3 reasons why I really like this clicky pen, right? That's it. Like, they want a first person, selfie style video. And that's what's one really important aspect of it that I will point out. I did it with my webcam that you guys are looking at, this background sitting at my desk right here. That's how I did my first 3 videos. Basically, I recorded it and with my face and said, hey, I'm Spencer. I'm going to be reviewing this pen here today. And then I changed my camera angle down to just point at my desk. And so I got a really close up, of my pen, right, is what I did. And so my face wasn't in 50% of the video. It was just kind of in the first half. Second half was just me showing the features of the pen.
So much in there. I'm glad you went into this because there's so many things we could unpack there. First off is the question a lot of people will have for the first 3 videos or beyond. Do you need to show your face? Do you show your face? I can tell you if I show my face, but like generally speaking, what are best practices?
Yeah, for the first 3 videos, I think you should show your face just to show that you're just an average normal person, but you do not have to. You do not have to. We don't know. They don't list a rule.
Correct.
Right? I just feel like if somebody's manually reviewing the video and you're like, hey, this guy's normal. He really is, that gives you like a green check mark.
I like to liken it like a first date. Like you could just wear a t-shirt to your first date. It might be fine.
Great.
But you probably ought to put on a decent shirt and shower before your first date. But yeah, once you've been going out for 2 or 3 years, you could probably just wear whatever you want.
You can forget to comb your hair that day and it'll be okay.
It's all good.
Yeah. So, but beyond the first 3 videos, you do not need to show your face.
Right.
It can just be the camera pointing at your desk. You're pointing at the object. It could even just be, you recording and not even showing your hands necessarily. It just, you're showing a close-up of the product, right? So yeah, sometimes my videos have a face in them. Sometimes they don't.
Yeah. I was the same way. I did my first 3 really well. I did like an introduction with my face, and then I really try to make sure I showcase stuff really clearly. And it's not to say like I cheapened out now and I do bad videos, but I just covered every base And going back to that ROI conversation, which we'll get into probably a little bit more later, but now I'm more about like, how do I produce a video that serves its purpose to help people make a buying decision in as little time as possible? But that's not the approach I took to the first 3 videos. I want to make sure it was really, really, really good. But like you said, in the vein of what they want, it's hard to even call them a review video. Like my course is called Product Reviews. And yet I'm always reticent just because it is a review video in that helps everyone understand the kind of the high level of it. But you're really just showcasing the product. You're not really telling people like this has, 25 BTUs of burner power. And like people, they can read that in the sales page. They want to just know like, how fast does it boil your water? Or,
Yep.
And so you're just kind of showcasing stuff rather than reviewing the product and comparing it.
Yeah. And in the vein of like keeping it real, which is what Amazon wants, they just want a real person reviewing like a purchase that they've made. You just need to think about, hey, I'm a guy in my garage with a product I've used. Here's what I like about it. And here's maybe one thing that could be better, right, about it. Or, or think about a stay-at-home mom, right? They're using their kitchen products all the time. They finally are pulling out their phone and saying, hey, here's this can opener I've had for a long time. I love it. It's great. If it did this, it'd be a little better, but otherwise, hey, it's been great. So, and that's the kind of casual approach you want to take.
There's a lot of, I'll just say like rules. And I think this is where people will get tripped up in their first 3 videos and beyond, but I think you get the hang of it. And it's pretty rare for me to get a video rejected now because of one of Amazon's rules. But I know in the beginning, looking at that list of rules is a little bit overwhelming and will be one of the big reasons that people get their first 3 videos rejected. Maybe from your approach, like how did you go about that? Because there are a long list of rules. Did you study it? Was it a big deal for you? Has it been a big deal for you? And how have you navigated those rules to make sure, and maybe give people some examples of what they are?
Yeah, I did look at all the rules, sort of the terms of service, right? A lot of it's, just a lot of common sense, right? But some of the things that maybe aren't quite as common sense are things like don't showing barcodes.
Which you'd be surprised how often they show up in things.
Right. Don't show personal information of any kind. Don't accidentally have your driver's license or something else in the background. And don't mention prices ever. That's a big one because I don't know that I would have done that on my own. That one's a little counterintuitive, but it makes sense when you think about it that Amazon prices are always changing. So they don't want you to say, hey, it's $20 when, it's on sale for 15 or really it's 25, right? So don't mention any prices. Don't show any personal information. Don't show barcodes. Trying to think of anything else that was like a really big deal. Just like feature one product only, in your videos. Don't be showing 3 or 4. Just show one and try not to have a lot of distractions or other things going on in the background. Those are probably some of the general guidelines.
For me, the one that has tripped me up the most, which it doesn't happen often, but is like the medical claim one. And This one's kind of bizarre. Like I know I got lotion rejected because I was like, I have dry skin, so I put this on. And you're like, you cannot make false medical claims.
Do not say that about dry skin.
Yeah. I was like, it's lotion. Like it's kind of intuitive that like that's what it's for. But okay. So it's like, here's this lotion. Let me show you what it looks like.
Right.
So you gotta, there's some stuff to navigate around medical claims and that sort of thing. And I know I did an unboxing video, but the inherent nature of unboxing it is that your shipping label's there and your address is on it. I've had that happen. I've done a review about a car product, your license plate's in it. That got rejected. I'm trying to think of some other things that that'll be flags.
Yeah. Yeah, some of those basic things. And again, for the first 3 videos in particular, make sure you're doing a good job. I guess the other thing to do to make sure you have a good video is make sure you show lots of close-ups of the product, right? I've had a lot of people, and we'll talk about this, that help me make videos, and that's been a big feedback point that I have to give them a lot, is they're just kind of holding back the product way back here. They're saying it's great, But really, I want them holding it, I'm not going to get a good shot, but you want it like super, super close where just a portion of it's taking up the whole screen because that's what people want.
Let's talk about, now that we're in, what that looks like. But I want to pause here if we could. Maybe we can give people a bit of a tease about, hey, we've been through a year. What kind of money are we talking about here? How many videos did we make? Yeah, Spencer, you know this in the podcast. We do like to find out the end before we get there and break it down. So what's the end look like? What's a year plus on the program? Give us some numbers you're comfortable sharing, and then we'll get into what the timeline was. Because now that we're through the acceptance process, we can get into what it really looked like on a practical scale for us.
Yeah, no, this is good. And I'm prepared to share some numbers.
You're prepared for the podcast. Good for you. All right, great.
I do.
Yes, Spencer.
I know. Thank you. So last year, I started really, it was like January of 2023, I think is when I put out my first video. And the ramp up was really slow, didn't have a lot of earnings in the first, second, third month, right? But by the time I was 6 months in that summer, every month after that was over $1,000 a month, right? It's $1,500, $2,000. And then, of course, holiday season, end of last year, November was about $3,000, and December was over $6,000 with Christmas buying. And then now, we'll talk a lot about what I've done since, but I'll just simply say I haven't added a lot of new videos, but my earnings are still pretty consistently at about $1,500, $1,600 a month. I mean, I just looked, my last 30 days are like square at like $1,530 in the last 30 days. And all of this without me adding any videos in the last 7 months, really since the end of last year. And so that gives people an idea of like, hey, peak season, I did like $6,000 in December. Now I'm consistently $1,500, $1,600 a month. It's been a nice little side income for sure.
It's crazy because it has all the tenets we love about, say, blogging and SEO, which is that longevity, right? You basically just summed it up. Like, I haven't done anything in 7 months and I'm still earning about the same amount. And, it would be reasonable to suggest that over time that'll go down. Like products will stop being in stock, or they'll change the model, or your video will be out of date, or somebody will make it better. But that's how content works as well. Like blogging content, like over time, you'll lose that if you don't continue to kind of update it or keep it live. But it has all those tenets of blogging in terms of longevity, but it doesn't take 6 months to a year to get going. I know I was earning 3 days after I uploaded my first video. Not much, but and so it's got both sides of the coin. It's really pretty crazy. And
so I'd be curious to hear your update, just to give, a general overview of like, how well have you done, recently with the influencer program? Hey everyone, Spencer here, founder of Niche Pursuits. Are you adding a new internal link pointing to each article you publish? You should be. Ever find it time-consuming and a bit overwhelming? Remembering what content you published and deciding which anchor text to use can be a real headache. What if there was a better way? Well, that's exactly why I created Link Whisper. Simply click Add Inbound Internal Links, and Link Whisper will scan your site in seconds and suggest the most relevant links with appropriate anchor text for your new article. Now simply check the box next to the internal links you want to add, and Link Whisper will add these links for you. No need to go into each article, edit, and add the link. It's already done. No more manual internal link building or guesswork. Just efficient, accurate linking that saves you time and improves your SEO. Transform your content strategy with Link Whisper. Start linking smarter, not harder. Use the coupon code PODCAST for $15 off. Head over to linkwhisper.com and use coupon code PODCAST to get $15 off.
I also got my numbers ready for this, figuring we'd talk timeline. I got accepted end of May of 2023, Memorial Day weekend here in the States. I front-loaded a lot of videos. So unlike you, where you kind of had a nice, slow, steady trajectory with your videos, I went really hard in the beginning. I did 225 or so, 229, I just have it here, in my first month. And then tapered off, but still I hit 1,000 videos by the end of 2023. And because of that, my earnings were about $1,000 in the first month. Actually, just over $1,000 in my first 30 days.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was pretty stunning. I wasn't expecting that, but it was great. And that was cool because that gave me motivation to keep making those videos. And then so I was earning between $2,000 and $3,000 a month until we hit the holidays. And then in November, I barely broke $4,000. I remember gloating about how I'd beaten you by, I think, over $1,000 or something.
That
I think
month,
you crushed me in December. If you're over 6,000,
came back strong.
I was still pretty happy with. I earned 4,000 in November, and I earned 4,000 in December. And so still had a great Q4 sales season. Since then, I've uploaded about maybe 200 videos or so this year, which sounds like a lot, but really that's only maybe 25 or 30 a month because we're 7-8 months into 2024. And my earnings were about $1,500 to $2,000 in January, February, but they've bounced back to between $3,000 and $4,000 a month every month since then.
That's incredible.
And so it's landed anywhere in that 3,000 to 4,000 range. Summer was a little slower last year. Looks a little slower this year, so maybe it'll be a little below that. But yeah, it's been in that range ever since.
Yeah, no, that's really good. And I failed to mention that the number of videos I have is like 1,067. I want to say. I'm looking now. 1,076 is how many videos I have, and almost 100% of them were uploaded by the end of last year.
Yeah,
I think I had 30 or 40 videos in January that were uploaded, right? So, but basically, I haven't done anything this year. So that gives people an idea. I'm at 1,076 videos. You're at like 12 or 1,300 maybe.
Yeah, I should have pulled it up, but yeah, it's like 1,200 or something like that, just over 1,200.
Yeah. So it's a super fascinating program for all the reasons that we mentioned, but also because, I really haven't done anything now for 7 months, and it's still been this like $1,500 per month that at this point for me, it's just pure profit. I'm not putting any time. Nobody's managing anything. The videos are just up there. People are finding them on Amazon, watching, and then buying something, and I'm making a commission.
Well, speaking of profit, let's get into profit only as a transition point because you and I went about this very different. So if you hear a lot of similarities in the first half of this interview, there are, but this is where you and I took two very different paths. And I think it's really cool to talk about. I've always enjoyed the fact that you and I took very different paths and yet have found success in the program because it speaks to its versatility. It speaks to how there isn't just one way to do it. And that's why I think this podcast episode, the second half, will be so interesting for people. There's many ways to go about this. How about you talk about your approach? I'll talk about my approach, and then we'll get into the things maybe that you've learned scaling and monetizing. And then I can also talk about the same thing because your approach, your scaling and your monetizing will look and have looked very different than mine. So your approach, tell us about the way you went about it.
Yeah. No, this will be really fascinating for listeners. They can compare and they can look at these two approaches and see if one is a better fit for them and where they currently are in their business. So my approach, when I started, I did the first 6 videos, I believe it was, myself. I recorded it. I recorded all the products, and it was my intention to do a bunch more myself. However, just for some background, like the Amazon influencer business isn't my primary business, right? I have niche pursuits. I own Link Whisper. I have other projects going on that take up a lot of my time. And so as I was getting into this, I was like, this is a super fascinating business model. I really like it, but my other businesses are doing really well and take up a lot of my time. This is a distraction, but I want to explore this. So how can I explore this business opportunity without sucking up all of my time? And well, I decided, I did some math and I'm like, I think there's enough profit here where I could hire others to create the videos for me.
Mm-hmm.
And, after paying them, there'll be a little bit of a cut for me. And so that's what I did. I ended up, for the most part, hiring people on Upwork and basically posting a job for user-generated content, influencers, people willing to create these types of videos where they review a product from Amazon. And this is a big question I get a lot, is like, well, how did I get them the product? Well, I didn't. I asked people to just record videos of products that they already have in their own house, just to pick up a product, record a video, and then they send the video to me, and I upload it to my Amazon influencer account. And so out of the 1,076 videos, like definitely over 1,000 of those are videos that I did not create. I paid people to help me scale my business. And so I would pay them on a per video basis. And I had a sliding scale where based on how much the product cost, the value of the product, right? So I don't have those numbers right in front of me, but it was anywhere from, averaged $15 to $20 per video for the most part.
And
people,
I think
how much
you cover that in your video too, so people can.
I do.
They can go into that if they need to get the details. But
yeah, if they want to get the exact numbers, they can get that. But let's call it, my average cost is $20 a video, something like that. And so it penciled out that, hey, I think over 6 months or a year, I should make on average more than $20 per video. And I can say that I've definitely done that at this point. So the math did work out. But that's how I scaled. I had more than that. But I had 5 or 10 core influencers that did the bulk of those 1,000 videos, right? I tried a few people that they created some videos that weren't great, didn't have them do a second batch, stuck with the 5 or 10 people that did a great job, and got tons of videos recorded. So that helped me scale, in the last 6 months of last year is really where the bulk of the videos were uploaded.
So you went about like the classic UGC approach, user-generated content approach. You're almost like brand. There's a whole submarket for this. If you go on different communities, like there's people who specialize in UGC content creation, and they do this for brands. And it's almost like you were like the brand hiring a UGC content creator, but instead of being the brand of like a Cuisinart, you were someone hiring to have UGC videos made about stuff. And I think that's also key, is you didn't have to get into shipping. I remember joking with you on a podcast once.
Yeah.
Were you going to get a garage full of products and all this kind of stuff? And you're like, no, I'm not doing that. That's not what this is. It's literally just hiring someone to record and review, products they have in their house already.
Yeah. And there's a lot of pros and cons to this approach. And I was well aware of the cons as well. And I decided to do it, right? So, some of the cons are that I'm not strategically picking which products should be reviewed, right? That's a big approach that a lot of people do, is they do a lot of analysis and like, I'm only going to review this type of product because I can see it's low competition. And I know if I upload a video, I'm probably going to get a higher, purchase rate. I'm well aware of all those things that, I could have done better, but I took the streamlined, fastest, quickest approach to scale. And that approach was, like I said, letting people pick whatever product they had in their house that met certain requirements in terms of it is sold on Amazon. I made sure it was priced above like $10, right? I didn't want anything super low priced. And then I had a bunch of guidelines that they had to follow in terms of quality of video, close-ups, doing, the actual review well. But that helped me scale quickly. If I was doing it myself, right, maybe I would take a more nuanced approach in terms of which products I would actually review.
And you, just to let the cat out of the bag, while we're not going to get into the specific dollars and cents of it, you are net positive. You are profitable in this approach, right? So people listening are like, okay, I understand the process, but like, does this pencil out in the end? But yes, it penciled out for you, and now you're not only net positive, you've been net positive for a while.
Yeah. Yep. So basically, by the end of last year, I was net positive. I will say that, like, I invested, right? Like, I put a number of like $15,000. Hey, I'm willing to spend this much, go in the hole this much, and before I see a return, because I know it's going to take 3, 4, 5 months for those videos really to pick up steam and earn more money, right? But it does pencil out now. I am profitable, and each month, $1,500 comes into my bank account, pure profit at this point.
And that's the thing, like we'll get into how I made them, and you might hear like, oh, Jared, you were profitable on day one because you didn't hire other people. But I had also had to put in all this time. Like you basically took a model.
Yep.
You put a little bit of process together. You did 6 videos, and you created something where you made an investment, and it took a while to get the return. But when you look at your overall time invested, you're now earning money from an initial monetary investment, and you're making $1,500 a month. You've earned all that money back, and you hardly put any time in.
Exactly.
And so your ROI in terms of return on investment of time is off the charts.
Exactly. And that's what I was trying to scale for, right? Because I've got other businesses, I'm super busy. So every hour I spend on my business, I'm optimizing more for that return on investment of time than I am for money, at this point, right? My return on investment can be a little bit lower as long as my time is very low as well.
Yeah. And that's, to me, the big thing about this program is the ROI. But like I said, you got to get detailed about ROI because it's not just a simple equation. You got to look at it, And so our ROI is high for both of us, but it's using very different evaluators for ROI.
Yeah. And, there's one question that I'm sure listeners are asking, because I know as I've posted videos and talked about this, it is a very common question of, okay, Spencer, you hired people. It's not even you on your influencer account. Is this within the Amazon terms of service to have somebody else besides you as the influencer? And I will simply say that my account has been up for a year and a half. Amazon has, obviously looked at my account. It's doing well. And I studied this subject a lot before I hired somebody else. And Amazon used to have in their terms of service a line that would indicate that you as the influencer needed to be, in your videos. You could not outsource this, essentially. That language was removed from their terms of service before I got started. So 2 years ago, something like that, that language was removed. And there is nothing in Amazon's terms of service that says that you as a business can't hire employees and have your employees create videos. And that's how I look at it, is I have a business model where I hire people to review products that they use in their house, and then we upload those to Amazon. So anyways, that's my answer to that potential question that people might have out there.
I'm sure a bunch of people had it, because anybody who's been on the associates program knows Amazon's terms of service is complicated, always a little nuanced, and always a little interpretation.
I would ask people to do their own due diligence. Yeah. Maybe you feel like what I'm doing is breaking the Amazon terms of service. I don't see anything like that. I've had no problems. I will also just say there are lots of other influencer accounts with very large businesses, very large brands involved that have tens of thousands of videos, and they're following my exact model, right? That they are hiring dozens and dozens of different influencers. It's all under their account. So I am not the only one doing this model.
Yeah, I've seen those as well, actually.
Yeah.
Well, let me share my approach.
Yes.
And listeners can, like you said, kind of pick which one might suit them best. I was also optimizing for time, ironically, but in a very different way. Because I did, myself and my business partner, Caitlin, we did, almost all the videos. I think I tested your model out a little bit. But there's only a handful of videos outside of us. It's basically 95, 98, 99% videos are us. And I'd say I did 80 to 85% of them. Caitlin didn't end up doing that many because I ended up being faster. And that's the key that I'll get into here.
Yeah.
So my approach was to do everything I owned in the house. I thought, it's probably 100 or 200 products. As it turns out, it's over 500 products that I made videos about. That is both embarrassing and eye-opening.
Yeah.
In a good and bad way. I guess we could leave it at that. But I think that also underscores, like, you have more than you think by probably a large margin. And again, being active in the niche pursuits community, that's something people are constantly saying is, oh my goodness, I didn't know I had so much stuff I could make videos about. So I can say that confidently. And keep in mind that it does not have to have been purchased on Amazon. It just has to be available on Amazon. They're very clear about that in their terms. There's like, as long as it's available on Amazon and you're making a video about the product and the actual product that you're tagging when you upload that's available on Amazon, it's fine. And so a lot of times you might have bought it at another big box store, or it might have been a gift that was given to you. And you can make a video. I love right after Christmas, I get all my gifts. I'm like, sweet, I don't have to pay for this stuff and I can make a video about it, right? So that got me through 500, 600, 700 videos. I don't know how many, but it was over 500 videos. Then I also took the approach over time of going a little bit. I did 2 neighbors' houses, not their whole house. Just spent like an afternoon down there. I did my parents' house. Spent 2 days down there, 2 afternoons down there. And then I've done products that I've used at a couple different Airbnbs I've stayed at over the last year and a half. Ironically, as it were, my biggest selling product during the Christmas sales season, the holiday rush of Q4, was a video I had made of a product in an Airbnb the month before. I'd used it all week, and I was like, oh, I've been using this every day to do X. I'll make a video about it. And that was the one that ended up making the most money for me. So I've ended up finding that, the 1,000 or so products out of the 1,200 videos we've done, are basically a combination of 3 things. The majority of them, products I already owned. Next up, related people that I know, going over their house, getting myself familiar with those products and making videos of them. And then we just end up buying 10, 20, 30 things a month from Amazon or related places that I can continue to make 10, 20, 30 videos a month. And that's where I've been landing on the last 6 months or so. When you ask me like, oh, you were at 1,000 at the end of 2023, you're at 1,200 now. Yeah, those 200 are just from one thing. That's the products that we've gotten on Amazon or related places that are available on Amazon. So that's the approach that I took. I knew that if I was going to go that route, I would have to make a really good process so I wasn't spending a ton of time on every video. And so I was able to get it down to an average of 5 to 8 minutes all in per video. That's including not only the filming of the video, but getting the product ready, getting prepared to do the shoot, doing the video, and then uploading it to Amazon and submitting it. And so that's the process I went through. And so the vast majority of it is just me and just stuff that I own.
And so follow-up question on that. So how did you get that process down to so little time? How do you do it so quickly? Is it a lot of batch process, like where you gather a bunch of products one time, set them all up, record a bunch of videos, and then upload them? Is it that kind of the process?
Yeah, it's very much batch oriented. I will typically film once a month now. Last year, I would film once a week. And I think that for me, it was good to draw a line. Like there was a point where I was making videos about stuff I'd already purchased. And then when I moved into 2024, it's a bit of a different process because it's now about stuff that I'm purchasing just in that month. But getting caught up, basically making videos about everything I owned, I took a batch process and I broke it down room by room. So I do the kitchen, and I just did the kitchen. I think it was in the kitchen for like over a month, because there's just so many little things there.
Yeah.
And I just go into the kitchen and I just break it down into like sections of the kitchen. I'd be like, okay, we're going to be in this section, right? So every frying pan here that's available on Amazon, we're going to do today. And then, what's the drawer down? Oh, the drawer down is the electric tea kettles. Okay. And so I was very batch focused, and then I would upload them all at once. So I'd do all my videos for the day or for the week, and I'd actually send them all via like AirDrop to my computer, and then I just batch upload them from my computer because I could just kind of drag them over and then walk away and, do something on my laptop or, do something else around the house.
Yeah. And one thing I will just note is that I didn't hear an editing step in your process.
No editing. Absolutely no editing. I say don't edit. I'm very clear about that. If I make a minor mistake in the video, it doesn't matter, because to your point, it's supposed to just be casual. It's okay if you make a little goof up. If it's one of those goof ups that like you would need to edit it, I just start the video over. It's quicker to just start the video over.
Right, because the videos that you're doing are sometimes only a minute, 2 minutes long, right? The average is, I'm guessing, it's a couple minutes long.
Yeah,
right?
Probably 2 minutes is probably the average, yeah.
Right, and so you could record a whole video and you go, I didn't like that, and do the whole thing again, and you're still done in 4 minutes.
I mean, just
right,
dragging it into an editor on your computer would take longer than that. But even editing, like, and I know some people who do it and on their phone, you could like every once in a while, if I have to like demo a product, and it's just for whatever, I'm trying to think of a nuanced product where you can't really make the video in one take. By the way, this is like well under 5% of the time. But every once in a while, you have to do that. Even then, like I'll just use a free editing tool on my phone to just edit the two of them together. And it's just, there's no transitions, there's no blends, right? But I'm telling you, that is so rare. Typically speaking, there's no editing. You're going straight from recording up to Amazon. And it's so important you get this process down. That's what I spend a lot of time in the course on, is teaching people how to like get really dialed in. Because if you're taking 30 to 60 minutes per video, all of a sudden earning that $1,500 a month that you're earning isn't very good, because it's going to take you so many hours to get there. But the ROI from what I've done is come up with this really honed in process to where it's 4 to 5 hours of work a week is what I was averaging throughout 2023. And then you can look at the end of the month and be like, well, 4 to 5 hours of work a week. And I made an average of 3,000, maybe 4,000 if you average it out per month. Okay, well, that's a pretty good ROI.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm telling you, if somebody is willing to spend like 10 hours a week, 15 hours a week consistently for a year, like I would be shocked if they're not making more money than I am, for sure.
Totally.
You know, they should be making, $3,000-4,000 a month probably, or more, right? Or less, depending on how well your videos do. This is a business, it's risk. But if somebody's willing to put in that time, I'll just, side note, I've tried to convince my oldest son that he needs to be doing this. If he would just put in 10 hours a week, by the time he goes, to college, or while he's in college, like he could be making $1,500 a month, and that pays for pretty much everything he needs.
It's crazy. I mean, I think this will be a good transition, because I wanted to kind of bring us to a close with this question for you, which is just any insights you have. And I think that there are certain things that we've learned that help make videos better, and certain things we've learned that help make certain products sell, certain products sell better. Maybe that's
right.
what I should say. But, it's not just about how many videos you make. And
right.
That's an important thing to note. A lot of people will say, how many videos do you have live? And then try to correlate that to earnings. I hear that a lot now. And I was guilty of doing it. And I still do it a lot. Like we talk, like, how many videos you at, Spencer? How many videos am I at? There is a correlation to how many videos you make, but it's more because you have to have enough irons in the fire to, you have to take enough reps to get videos into carousels to get them bought. But really, it's about so much more than that, because you will hear somebody who has 1,000 videos making X, and then you'll hear someone who has 500 videos making 4X. So there's also a lot more nuance to it. I mean, we could do a whole podcast on it. So let's just maybe say, like, the last 10 minutes here, what are some insights I gained that can help people better with their videos, but also better with their product selection, just make more money in general?
Yeah, so a couple of, I would say, obvious ones that are really good insights is that higher priced products tend to make more money. They just pay more commission, right? You could sell a $10 product all day long, but if you sell a $1,000 product, that's, where the real money
they don't sell nearly as often.
Exactly. You can sell, a couple a week, and, that's really, really solid. So if you can, I would start with your highest priced products in your house.
Totally.
Right? Look for things that cost $500, $1,000. Go review all of those. That's to get the best bang for your buck.
I started with all the clothing I had. And maybe I just don't do clothing very well, which would make sense because I don't own a ton of nice clothing. But man, that was the worst approach. Even through that, I still came out successful. But to your point, I went the opposite and started with all the easy, low price stuff. And boy, that stuff, high returns, not much commission. You're making 20 cents per t-shirt that gets sold. That was a bad approach. Yeah.
And then the other insight is just to make your video actually useful. And a couple of tips about that is just jump right into the product. Don't give some big, introduction, or people going to Amazon and clicking on a review video don't want a story. They don't want rambling. They just want to see the product. And so just jump right into the product, show lots of close-ups, and be willing to share bad things about the product as well. They want an honest review, and I would say that is part of what makes a good video, is knowing they can trust this person. And part of that is hey, this product would be better if it didn't have this little feature, or if it had this feature. So that's a couple of insights I would give as well.
Yeah, I agree. You're not trying to like sell the product. This isn't like,
Right.
the Cutco knife person at the fair trying to convince you to buy the knife.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I would just give some tips. And then I know we're coming to a wrap up here, Jared, and I know you've given a lot of tips and insights, what you've learned along the way, of course, in the course that you mentioned. So maybe you can just take a couple more minutes to mention kind of what's in the course or one or two other insights you have.
Yeah, I think that's the devil in the details. Like the process of making videos, whatever timeline you choose to follow, like these are things that is, you can pretty readily available. I think the details of making money with this is all of the nuances. You hit on a couple of them, like high price products. I learned that the hard way. You
Yeah.
don't have to now. I think there's a lot also to be said for your videos being good enough. So you've got to have decent sound and decent filming, like shaky
Yeah.
camera, blown out background, being too far away, having audio that's muffled or tinny, background noise. It doesn't have to be really high quality, but it also can't be low quality.
Yeah.
There's also a ton of seasonality to it. Like what you're selling today, which we're in the middle of summer, will look vastly different to what you're selling in the middle of November and the Q4 sales season. And so understanding that, and understanding how to like play the seasonality game with the influencer program is so much in that. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't realize, and it's interesting, by the way, I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of my summer videos about products people buy in the summer that I made last year at the very beginning of the influencer program, and then they went out of vogue because people don't buy gardening stuff in November. They
Yeah.
all come back. That's what's so
That's
cool about
awesome.
it. And so I'm so excited about like my video about, say Christmas stuff or warm weather stuff, hopefully coming back, but understanding the seasonality of it and then just getting that process down. Like it's just, I think that's the biggest insight is you need a process. And for me, I have the same kind of script I say every time. I obviously just modify it for the phone case and the coffee mug and the microphone and all that. It gets modified, but it's a very repeatable script I've developed and written that is something you can adapt really quickly and then adapt to your product, but you don't have to spend all this time writing the script for every product. You don't have to spend, and then obviously the filming process, making sure it's efficient, because that's for me what made this successful. If I was spending 30 minutes, 60 minutes per video, my ROI would be like, I just traded a job basically. I got a new job that's paying me $4,000 a month. But for me, the benefit is learning how to do this so that I spent 4 or 5 hours a week and I'm making 3 to 4K a month.
Yeah. And again, I'm a huge fan of sort of standard operating procedures, processes that can make us better and hopefully make us a little bit more money. So yeah, people want to check out your processes for the Amazon Influencer Program. They can go to nichePursuits.com/product review process or product review profits. And, I'm going to say that wrong. So you can just click the link in the description. That's going to be a lot easier. It'll be in the description if you want to check it out. Yeah.
It's a bit of a mouthful. No, I'm really excited about it. As if you're on my email list, you get my emails every week, that like, I just can't write a short email, the course follows that similar vein. It ended up being a lot longer than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of good nuggets of information in there. So, but this has been fun being able to, sort of catch up and talk about the Amazon Influencer Program. I still think today it's a very good opportunity. I started a year and a half ago. It's still up and going strong. So I see no reason why people can't jump in and get started.
My favorite thing to wrap it up about all this is, and you and I have had to get on the podcast every week to talk about the news in our industry. And so many people have had their side hustle decimated really pretty much by Google. There's been a lot around that environment, a lot of, AI. So it's not just Google, but just the classic blogging and profits will come model has certainly gone through so much tumultuous times. This has been something so positive to talk about and so encouraging to do. And I know it's silly. I've only spent 4 or 5 hours a week, but getting to work on a project where you are doing a side hustle, you are doing a make money online sort of venture, seeing the rewards come so quickly. You upload a video, you make money on it, the next week. and seeing that continue to grow over time, it's been such an uplifting process. Like it's just been nice to have this positive reinforcement where a lot of our niche sites or something else haven't been going as well. So I almost in full look back of the last year or so, it's just been such a good experience.
And it's such a perfect fit for niche pursuits. I created niche pursuits really to explore these niche business ideas, just these online business ideas that maybe it's a side hustle, maybe it's a full-time business. And the Amazon influencer is one that I didn't see coming. It kind of caught me out of left field, and we have people on the podcast to talk about their side hustles, their businesses. We've had a couple that talked about the Amazon influencer program that they inspired me. And so I started it, you started it, and it's still going well. So definitely a positive, just kind of a cool opportunity out there with the Amazon influencer program.
So if you're looking to learn more about it or dive in, there is a course. Bonuses are available within the first week of the podcast coming out. But the course will be live in perpetuity. Of course, if you want to get the course and then get someone to help walk alongside you, try out the Niche Pursuits community. That's where Spencer and I talk a lot about all the questions that people have, or share some more stuff on there, so you can jump into the community. It's a pretty active influencer community, and we'll keep talking about this. We're not going away, but we tend to talk about it on a Friday episode, and we wanted to do a full review, a full hour towards it, and so that's what we did here today. So, Spencer, congrats on being the inspiration to me, because I'll say I had never heard of it until you talked about it, and here we are both doing a recap video over a year later about how successful it is, and like you said, what a cool thing.
It's been a lot of fun. It's been fun to talk about here as well, and so thanks for letting me come on the show and doing a whole hour-long interview on it. This probably won't be the last side hustle we try, but this is currently a really fun one. So
I agree.
Thanks for letting me talk about it.
Well, maybe we'll do a part 2 somewhere down the road, but until then, we'll see you on Friday.
All right. That sounds good. Thanks, everyone.
Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to the Niche Pursuits podcast. I just wanted to remind you that if you are ready to start building smarter, faster, and easier internal links, you should check out Link Whisper. You can get $15 off Link Whisper when you use the coupon code PODCAST at checkout. Head over to linkwhisper.com and use the code PODCAST in order to save $15. Thanks again for listening.